It is the volunteerism and professionalism, two wings of social change. I mean, we consciously choose the very important part, very important speaker for the closing training of the volunteerism program. And our esteemed trainer of today is the Mustafa Tutkun. Mr. Mustafa Tutkun is the Deputy Director General of Türk Kızılayı, and he holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science and International Relations from the International Islamic University of Malaysia, and he is also holding a master degree from the International Relations and Humanitarian Affairs of the University of Gorgonyan. He has an outstanding CV, which is full of social contributions and leading positions in the high-level international NGOs and charity organizations related with it. And one of the most important part of his career was that he was the chair of the Turkish Diyanet Foundation, which is one of the biggest charity foundation in this regard, I believe also in the world. And he is now the Director General, Deputy Director General of the Turkish Red Crescent. And the importance of this part of the training is that we have an outstanding trainer who has both theoretical and also professional practical experience on volunteerism and professionalism. He had the opportunity to be locate himself in the both of these wings, and sometimes maybe at the same time at the both of these wings. And I want to give the floor to Mr. Mustafa Tutkun for sharing his outstanding experience about the issue to our esteemed participants of the ICYF volunteerism program that's taking place for the last 2 weeks in an intense program. Yes, Mr. Mustafa Tutkun, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Khalid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to all. And I see such an ummatic gathering here and from different parts of different Muslim communities. Alhamdulillah, I'm very happy to see you all, and then I really enjoy being here. As Khalid mentioned, now I'm working as a professional in Turkish Red Crescent. But what I'm going to talk about is much more like my experiences, is the essence of my 25 years of humanitarian experience, I can say. So I know you have been go through many sessions and you had enough theoretical information, but still I think we need to have some more just to understand what I am trying to say by saying volunteerism and professionalism, the two wings of social change. So let me start with the presentation. Can you hear? Can you see the screen?
We didn't able to see right now, Mr.
Okay, okay, just a minute.
Yes, now we are seeing very well.
Okay. So I like to start with a short story because just now Sister Bayan was broadcasting some short movies. I'm not, I'm a bit older, so we don't have, you know, the video, but I have a story. We used to have stories when we were kids, and our grandmas used to tell us stories before we go to the sleep. So once upon a time in the tropical Africa, it was the Mason season, and it rained, and all the jungle got flooded. And the Lion King has gathered the old animals and said, I want volunteers who will help me to protect, to save the lives of the other animals, because there are many animals in the jungle and then who cannot fly, who cannot climb on the trees. And we must guide them, we must direct them to the top of the hills or on the trees. So the monkey was one of the volunteers, and he said, I can do it. So then Lion King asked him to help animals who are in the water and then trying to save themselves. So he went up to the trees and then he looked around and then seen a fish jumping in the water. Then the monkey said, oh, the fish is trying to save himself, so I need to help him. And then he got a stick and then tried to pull out the fish, and then he hit the fish, and the fish was on the ground and then was jumping again. And the monkey was thinking he saved the fish, and the fish was very happy, that's why jumping again. So let's put this story aside and then continue my presentation. I will come to this story and the lessons we learned from this story. So what volunteering means, what is it? I mean, if you look at the literature, I mean, I'm sure 100% that you have go through this definition, but I want to break down this definition into pieces. So if you look at the volunteering, it means you have to give some time, which is, this time is given willingly. So nobody forced you, nobody asked you to do it for something else, and this time should be given for common good. I mean, it shouldn't be a personal interest, and I will come to this, the personal interest side, later. And it should be without a financial gain. You should not ask for anything in return. So I'm not going to go, I mean, to so details in theoretical part, but I just want to remind you some issues when we come to the volunteering. And then if you look at the volunteering and from the different aspects. So when you see the volunteering from the impacts side, impacts wise, what volunteering creates, what kind of impact volunteering creates. So if, I mean, it might be surprising, but volunteering can create harm as well. So it can create some self-interest, or it can create a change, an impact in the society, which is, we can say, the common good. So, and let's put this aside again, and then we continue with the motivation. I mean, why you are volunteering? So why a youth, I mean, a young man, a boy, girl, want to volunteer with a society or an organization? I mean, basically that might be two motivation. One might be a materialistic motivation, which is you expect something in this world and you get something out of your volunteering. Either it is an experience, or, I mean, networking, you know, enjoy yourself, I mean, any kind. Or it is a moral, I mean, something which is encourages you to volunteer so that you can contribute others and your society, but you don't expect anything in monetarily in this society, in this world, but you expect it from, if you believe in, I mean, since we are talking to Muslim community, in hereafter. But there are people who doesn't believe in God, but still they volunteer. So they expect something spiritual, not materialistic. So, and the volunteering can be a skilled volunteering, means, for example, a doctor might volunteer and then go and make surgeries in third world countries, in disadvantaged societies. or it can be a general. So that doesn't require any kind of professional skill. So, and anyone can then volunteer, this kind of volunteerism. So, and in terms of timing, so you can volunteer as you wish. So, for example, you can go out in your neighborhood and clean the streets whenever you like. Or you can go to any organization and say that, okay, or every Saturday afternoon, I can be your volunteer. So it can be a part-time or a professional. It means professional means, it doesn't mean that you are get paid, but you can say that every year, 1 month, I can go and volunteer in Africa or in Southeast Asia or somewhere for the disadvantaged people. And then it is much more professional one. Or it can be formal or informal. I mean, if it is formal, it means you are working, you are volunteering with an organization which is managed by professionals. Or it can be informal. I mean, you can do it as you do in your neighborhood or in your community. So nobody asks you, no any organization or formal structure manages your volunteerism. So these are the different 5 different aspects of volunteering. So when we come to the social change and what we mean by social change, so it is actually a significant change that addresses a pressing social challenge. So it means there is a problem in the society, in your community, or in the environment, in the what you call it, the surroundings of yours, and you want to change it. And then this change, we call it as common good. So it is for everyone, for everybody. So, but the impact, if you look at the social impact from the social change perspective, the impact can be positive or negative, intended or unintended, as we talk about in the impact aspect of volunteering. So when you volunteer, so you can have an impact, and this impact cannot be measured or predicted before all the time. So you have to be very careful. So when we look at the professionalism, so what we mean by professionalism, so I look at the literature, and then I really, very interesting, I couldn't find a good definition of professionalism. So this is really important, and I think that somebody must study this issue. But I found something in the USA Department of Labor. They define the professionalism as shown here. Means conducting oneself with responsibility, integrity, accountability, and excellence, and communicating effectively and appropriately, and always finding a way to be productive. So when we look at the professionalism and we break down the professionalism as well, we see that professionalism does not mean wearing a suit or carrying a briefcase. So we don't talk about having, you know, fancy offices. We don't talk about fancy cars and then having a meetings in the plazas and other things. So we are talking about responsibility, integrity, which the people you are engaging with must trust you. Accountability, you must feel accountable towards your all stakeholders. And excellence, you must always look for the best practices. You should not just ignore the expectation of your beneficiaries. So when we look at the professionalism from the story I just mentioned in the beginning. So the monkey was really had a very good intention, and then he was trying to help his society, his community, and then that's why he had volunteered, and he wanted to save, and the impact was, he was trying to save the fish. He didn't have any bad intention, but he didn't have the professional view of helping a fish. So if you don't know the society where you are being a volunteer, and then or in a community or in a task, it doesn't matter whatever it is. It doesn't have to be with the living things. It can be anything, environment, or with something. For example, you are repairing your friend's car. So you can break it down if you don't know how to do it. So having a good intention, good motivation, doesn't mean that the impact, it means the outcome, the result will be good as well. So in order to have such impact, we must have a kind of professionalism. And when I say professionalism, I'm not talking about being a doctor, being an engineer, being an, let's say, a humanitarian, professional humanitarian staff. So wherever you go, you have to first understand the context and the needs of the society. So in my 25 years of career, I have been to all kinds of disasters, all kinds of crises in all parts of the world. And I've seen many, many issues out of professionalism, harming the society. I can give you a very quick example from Indonesia. I see many friends from Indonesia, and then in 2005 and at the end of 2004 and the beginning of 2005, we had a huge disaster in Southeast Asia, which is the tsunami. So I've been to Aceh at that time. So we were distributing food because it was in my whole life, I haven't seen such a devastating disaster, and 300,000 people lost their lives. And then it was really terrible. But we were distributing food. But most of the problems at that time, because everything was destroyed, people were living in the tents, and the babies, most of the babies didn't have baby food. So many organizations has brought baby food from their own countries. So I was trying to distribute this food with in the camps, the tent camps, for the babies. But one lady who had the knowledge and information and experience, and then she reminded me and said, this food is not good for Indonesian appetite. And the babies develop their appetite by the age of 4, which means if you give them this food for a long time or for a certain time, and baby cannot eat their own cultural food. So they cannot live in their own community. So when you are feeding a baby, you must consider this kind of very simple but very important issues. So these are the issues we have to tackle. So when we look at the volunteering today, and I see instead of volunteering, we have volunteerism. So when I go to Africa, especially in Africa, in African countries, people like to have pictures with chocolate sweeties. So it is good and to have this kind of selfies and photos and share it with social media, and that's it. So you come back and you are happy, you enjoy yourself, you entertain yourself, but you don't have an impact. So I mean, I don't really criticize enjoying yourself or benefiting. It is the most important and most crucial part of being volunteer for oneself, but it is not the only reason we volunteer. So that's why when you look at an internet, you look and this is from an African community website. So how they view the volunteerism from their perspective. So they consider it as a new colonialism. They're wrapped in the white savior complex, they say. So that's why some countries have taken some precautions for this kind of volunteerism issues. So we must be very careful when we are being volunteer with such organizations or being part of it. So when you look at for example, Australian government in their websites, and I've seen so far one of the best in volunteering management from the government side in Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. So the rest of the world, they don't really give much attention for the volunteering issues. Even in our country, in Turkey, we don't have any regulations, laws and regulations to manage the volunteerism. So the Australian government has warned the society, the youth actually, not being part of this kind of harming volunteerism issues. So for example, here again, a constant strangers coming in and out of a children's lives can be harmful to a child's development. For example, if you are going to volunteer in an orphanage, so especially they have this kind of companies, let's say, just to earn some money, they create a fake orphanage and then bring volunteerists to the orphanages for 2-3 days, and then take photos and go out. So that's why the Australian government was reminding and informing the volunteers in Australia. So this is really important and a really important issue. So if you look at from the professional side of them, as a professional volunteer, so that's why should do no harm and address a need in a local community. So, and they should be careful with the organizations they are volunteering, and then it must be in compliance with the laws and regulations of the country they are going to volunteer. So, and also the task we are volunteering must be right fit for us. So then we have to do some homework before we volunteer with such activities, and then do we have the right skills and or experience for this proposed activities. And sometimes people I see when they come and volunteer, they don't like to share their experience with those other volunteer people. So these are the issues we have to consider before being volunteer. So I will come to another aspect of volunteerism when we talk about the two wings. So when you talk about professionalism, so especially if you are volunteering with a formal way, which means with an organization, with an NGO, with a foundation, with a charity, then you will be working with professionals. So those professionals will always have some issues with volunteers, and you must be ready for that. So that because most of the time, the professionals think the volunteers will get their job, and they don't know how to handle it. And then if the organization doesn't have a good volunteer management system and well-informed staff about this kind of issues, you might have some problems. But that's why the professionals as well must be the volunteers. Means if you are working with an organization and this organization is working for the social change. And the impact, if the impact you are aiming, you are trying to get is social change, then all the professionals also must be volunteer. So, I mean, the volunteers should have a kind of professionalism when they are doing their work, and the professionals should have some kind of volunteerism to get the right outcome, the right impact. So that's why when you are volunteering, it means so you know what to do. So volunteering means you are doing something for the social change, but professionalism is how you are going to do it. So if you don't have these two wings, then definitely you will not have the social change, the impact, the outcome. So the social change is what the question why. So why we are doing it? I mean, I am not talking about your motivation. The motivation is your inner side. So you can have many kinds of motivations, but this is from your beneficiary side. So why you are doing it? You want to get him out of poverty. You want to save him from this refugee crisis. You want to save them from this disaster, or you just want to clean your environment and have a better society. So these are the questions we are looking for when we are volunteering. And this is what we do. But how we do is really important, and we need to give great emphasis on this side of volunteering. That's why I encourage all my volunteers in my organization, in our organizations, to go and study before having the task they assigned to them. So they must have some kind of information and homework to have really a good impact out of their tasks. So that's why I say professional volunteers and voluntary professionals are the two wings of social change. And if we have such spirit in both sides, then I think that we will have a better world in the future. So thank you for listening to me. And then this is all my presentation. And if you have questions or comments, I'm ready to share and my views as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mustafa Tutkun, for this outstanding presentation. And also, your presentation was insightful, and you mentioned about your volunteerism work in Banda Aceh in 2005. And I was also there, and I was a fresh undergraduate student when I was working in the Banda Aceh during that tsunami natural disaster. And from your points, and I also observed that there are some NGOs who are localizing their service according to the specifications and the demands of the local people there. It varies from the determining the best bread for the people, and also that goes to the orphanage house. Some NGOs are providing infrastructure to this orphanage without touching or intervening in the trainings or the programs of it. But on the other hand, as you mentioned, and I think one of the most important one, there are some other NGOs with hidden agendas. And as you mentioned, it is very important the purification of this volunteerism approach, maybe code of ethics of this volunteerism is very important, implementing that. And thank you very much for this insightful explanation. And thank you also remembering beloved Banda Aceh of Indonesia, and at that time. And dear friends, before switching to the closing ceremony, in which the ICOF President, Mr. Taha Ayhan, will address you, I want to take this opportunity to take a few questions to address to Mr. Mustafa Tutkun, to enjoy the opportunity to ask directly a question to this person who is both have a theoretical and also practical experience about the field. And if you want to ask questions, please raise your hand. Yes, I see several hands, and I want to now give floor to the Burkina Faso, dear brother Yaya Dema. Yes, dear Yaya, floor is yours.
Okay.
Dear Yaya, are you hearing us well?
Thank you very much for the floor. My intervention is not. Can you hear me?
Brother,
I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, we are hearing you, but I think there is a bandwidth problem about your connection.
Maybe can you turn off your camera?
Okay, let me do that.
Much better now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we are hearing you very well.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. In fact, it's a comment. It's not a question. I would like really to appreciate the presentation because it is a kind of summary of all the presentations we have been listening so far. Thank you very much for the presentation. And my comment is the aspect of the types of volunteerism. You talk about formal and informal volunteerism, and I really like that aspect because since all the participants, mainly some are young volunteers or their first experience of volunteerism they will have. So it's an advice that I would like to share, that once we finish the training, for example, we don't just have to wait for a professional or a formal organization to start volunteering. So it's something that we can do with our neighborhood, as the presenter has already said. So we don't just have to wait to be hired by an organization to be a volunteer. We just have to think of small things in our communities and see whatever we can do with friends and relatives to change our community. So this is what I would like to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother Yaya. And as you know, according to our joint youth action plan that is approved by the Council of Foreign Ministers, one of the project approved there by the Council of Foreign Ministers is the volunteerism project. So we are also encouraging you to share with you your volunteerism activities, videos, if you have, and we will be glad to promote them. And please be ready for the other good news that we will announce soon about volunteerism. Thank you very much for the comment, dear Yaya. And I want to see the hands to ask questions. Thank you, Yaya. Thank you, brother. I want to give the floor to the brother from Egypt, Mr. Ahmed. Mr. Ahmed Sobhi. Please, floor is yours, dear brother. Ahmed, are you hearing us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, brother. Please address your question to our esteemed trainer of today. I think we are also facing a technical problem. And I want to turn back to Sri Lanka. Dear brother Leah is raising his hand to ask a question. Yes, brother Leah, floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. This is Leah from Sri Lanka. Actually, I'm really happy to be here because I'm also one of the IIUM. alumni. And so my question here is that if the human rights violation, human rights violation carried out by the majority or the government against the minority, such a country like in Sri Lanka during the COVID period. So actually, I want to say that here is the WHO, World Health Organization. So in Sri Lanka, not following that rule here, the World Health Organization, the criminal, the dead body. So we are the Muslim, right? So in Sri Lanka, our body, Muslim body is criminated. So in this case, how we deal with the majority, even our body is criminated. So this is my question, because this happened during this period, and also even in India. So normally they are creating, how do we call that, racist against the Muslims and and also in major in Sri Lanka, the mainstream media also saying that the Muslims are against the, they're just posting against us, even in the mainstream media, that so many things this so my question is that even in our body, the Muslim body is criminated against the violation of the WHO, the rules. So how we, as a professional level, how we deal with the majority, even in the government, if they take the rules against us? Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Brother Leah. I think the question is, how can the volunteerism could be done effectively in the countries that are facing intense Islamophobia and discrimination? Am I right? What are the ways to overcome this?
Yeah, during this period, in the COVID period.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I think now what we are doing is the only way what we can do actually nowadays, because we are all locked down. I mean, I think the youth has great experience with the social media and the digital world. So this is very effective nowadays. And if you are following the USA Today, and then it is really getting in big trouble, I think. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be like this. I mean, but you can inform, and first of all, your community, how to protect their rights peacefully and lawfully, and also inform, because today the global community is much more efficient than the local ones. So since the governments has the control in their own countries, they don't really mind what their people think about it. So they mind what other countries, especially the big ones, the powerful ones, think about it. So they don't like to be publicized, or they don't like to be known by others if they are violating the rights of their own people. So you have to inform the rest of the world what is going on in your country. But it doesn't have to be, again, I need to remind, in a violent way, of course. So you have to be careful when you are going into this kind of engagements, because when you go into the mass activities, so most of the time your emotions take you over, and then you cannot control yourself. You must be very careful. Again, here you need professionalism. So you must have some kind of experienced people with you, so that they can help you, they can guide you, they can control the people, what they not to do or they need to do.
Thank you very much for the contribution and then insightful answer response. I want now direct the question, give the floor to the Philippines, Miss Esnaira Salam, to ask a question to Mr. Mustafa Tutkan. Yes, Miss Esnaira.
Thanks so much. Assalamu alaikum again.
Alaikum assalam.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. you've talked about giving a positive impact to the community through the professionalism of volunteerism. Um, During crisis, whether man-made or natural disasters, for example, these are the times that really call for lots of volunteers. So what system can we put in place to ensure that in these times, during crisis, for example, we can make positive impact to the community? So what systems can we put in place to make sure that the volunteers who are helping in these times are giving positive impact and they're doing a professional kind of volunteerism? Thank you.
I think we have different dimensions of this question, because if you look at from the government side, I don't know whether you are asking about from your volunteer side, but I just want to answer this question from a wider perspective. So the government, I just give you an example about the Australian government, and then it means that the Australian government is aware of their volunteering, potential, and then they are trying to guide it into the right direction, and then inform the volunteers in the right direction, so that governments has a role to develop such a system to guide those people who like to be volunteers first. I don't want to go into detail this issue. We can talk about hours. And the organizations and NGOs or non-governmental organizations needs to develop their the approach to tackle this kind of issues, because in each society, in each geography, we have different kind of crisis, and then we can predict when we will need the volunteers. So, for example, in your country, Esner, Mayra, I've been to there after Yolanda, and we have built schools and clinics in some islands, Cebu. So there are always this, storm. Hurricanes. So you must be ready for that. So you cannot wait it to happen and then be volunteer. So you should know that this is the professional volunteerism. So you should know that what to do when a storm is coming. So how to help the others, because all of the society does not have the same kind of information and awareness. So you have to how to inform. For example, you don't need an organization to do it. So if it is, let's say, the storm is coming, and ask people to close their doors and then inform if the people are not informed. So if it is tsunami, for example, why the tsunami has happened, so many lives lost, because people want to see the waves after the earthquake. So they didn't know, they were not aware of what is going on. So, and if you watch the videos, you can realize it. So somebody must warn them. And this is a great impact in the society, believe me. And then you could save hundreds of thousands of lives by doing it. And then today, social media has great, potential to reach the communities. So you can do it this way, and then you have to be informed about your community's problems, crisis, and then even you can organize a group of people by yourself to help your community. So these three aspects, the volunteer side, organizations, and the government has to be ready and prepared for this kind of issues.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I want now give the floor to the Brahim Abi Smail. I couldn't able to see his country, so before asking the question, if you just inform your country. Yes, floor is yours, Brahim.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So my name is Brahim. I'm from Algeria, actually.
Great to have you here, Brahim.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, our dear speaker, for this interesting session. Well, my question is about the example you've given us lately, which reflects the non-professionalism when it comes to care orphanage. So I wonder if you could give us other examples which they reflect non-professionalism by volunteers. Thank you so much.
I mean, I can give you hundreds of examples, but just to give you one or two common examples. One is then of them is, especially when we go to the Africa, there are many people who really like to go to Africa as volunteers. So what they do is they distribute food in the market. So when you distribute the food, I mean, let's say that you bring a lot of food from outside and distribute it to the people. So you crash the market. So you crash the system in the country. So what people, those who grow the farmers, they cannot sell their products, and then the small entrepreneurs who are really buying from the farmers and then selling it into market, they cannot again gain anything. So what you should do, you should buy it from the market in the country. You should not bring it, if it is of course available, but most of the time we don't really think about it. And this is one example. And the other one is again very common. People go and dig water wells in mostly again in African countries, but I've seen in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka and other countries as well. But especially in Africa, you dig water wells, and this is a real example. I have been in Niger in 2005. There was a village. Almost all of the village was sick with some kind of leukemia. They had bone diseases. So we tried to help them, and then we brought some doctors, and I used to work with doctors worldwide. And the doctors has discovered that the disease was coming from the water well, because it was it had arsenic in the water. So you just dig the water and then let them drink this water for maybe decades. This disease was in this village for more than 10 years. So, and when we discovered that the water well had arsenic, so we closed this water well and then dig another one, and we had all the tests for this water, whether it is drinkable or not. So we have many examples of this if you go to the field, because as the monkey was doing with the fish. So people has very good intentions, but they might harm the beneficiaries or the society. So I can give you more examples, but I don't want to take your time because we have limited time.
Thank you very much. I think we can take a few questions. Brother Ahmed Sopi from Egypt, are you hearing us well for raising your question?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, floor is yours, dear brother.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mustafa, for your presentation. And my question is, should every professional volunteer has a degree in social work or to be certified? And should every professional has a leadership skills? Thank you.
Not indeed, actually. First of all, let me share my view about the formal education. Really, I don't approve formal education. And I believe that a voluntary education is much more efficient. For example, if you are not, getting at this session, and if you get this in a university classroom, so definitely you will get it, that the benefit will be much less than the one you are getting it here with your voluntary participation. So that's why, again, here I encourage volunteerism. If you want to be professional, you must be volunteer first. So you must do it willingly. And then that's why you don't have to be a certificate volunteer, but you must be informed and then the aware and precautious volunteer. So that this is the most important one. And then you can do it in today's world. You have a lot of means to do that. I mean, just Google it. I mean, of course, I don't say that everything you Google is correct, but you give some time. So you do some homework and then you will learn what you have. For example, you have been assigned a task, let's say in Sri Lanka, a friend, he was here from Sri Lanka. So you check from, different resources about where you are going and then what is people's culture and then how they like, how they don't like, what kind of problems, crisis they are facing and this kind of issues. So, and for this, you don't need to have a graduation from any subject. For the certificate, again, the same. I mean, you don't have to be certified. But today, if you want to be with an organization and if you want to have a long-term, voluntary work with an organization, so they might ask certificates. So if you have the chance to get it, of course you get it. But I don't say that don't ignore it totally. But you don't have to be certified all the time in order to be a professional volunteer.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And also we now, let me check the questions, raise hands. Dear Shafiq Hakmi, are you able to connect? Because we didn't able to hear you last time. Do you want to ask your question again? Because you write me in private, but we didn't able to hear you. So if you want to ask, you can ask. But before that, I want to switch to the Peru. I mean, when we are distributing the questions, we are also trying to be as fair as possible in terms of the geographical distribution. And we are switching continents each time. And now this time we want to go Peru. And Mr. Nouri Pezo, the floor is yours.
Hello, can you
Hello,
hear me?
Ms. Nouri.
No?
Hello, thank you. Thank you for sharing this PPT. I feel so grateful for with everyone. I would like to do some question about the volunteering. Here in Peru, there are a lot of that. I manage different volunteering in this time, coronavirus time. After this coronavirus time, I lost 3 volunteerings in my country. After this time, I know that organization we will have less volunteers in our organization. My question is, how can I overcome this situation for South American countries that the death in this coronavirus is a lot, is high? How can I recruit or catch more volunteers to manage after this coronavirus situation? Can you give us some advices to overcome this after coronavirus situation? But I think the situation after this time is so different. It's different. I think less volunteers in my country. I think the death is a lot. I don't know how is in another country. I would like to receive advices about how can I overcome this situation and catch more volunteers in my organization, because I manage some volunteers. Some of them are dead. It's complicated after this time. Thank you so much.
I think after this coronavirus crisis, I am not expecting less volunteers, but on the contrary, I am expecting more volunteers in this kind of voluntary work, because people really felt the pain. And then I can see that although we are locked down, but we really empathize the pain of those people who lost their lives. So, and then you can actually get benefit out of this situation, because people are much more empathetic, sympathetic. And this is the most important part being a volunteer. So if you share the stories of those who volunteered and lost their lives with a good kind of presentations, short videos with your volunteers, the potential volunteers, I think you can encourage them to be part of your organization. But again, I don't expect, the people, I don't know the Latin America or South America about, the culture. I've been there several times, but I see them, they are very sympathetic people, and then I think they will also contribute after the coronavirus. But if you are, asking that you don't have enough people who are going to volunteer to your organization, and don't be afraid, because definitely you will find the volunteers, but you must be more active than before, of course, by sharing the contribution they have done during this crisis.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you
our
so
warmest salams to Peru. And we are glad to have you here as the other continents and regions of the world. And please keep us updated about your good work, about the volunteerism that you are doing in the Peru. We will ready to support and collaborate. Thank you very much. And Mr. Mustafa, I think your presentation raised very important awareness and intention to be part in the work of the Red Crescent. And I get several questions, for instance, from the Mr. Shafiq Hakimi from Afghanistan. He's saying that my question is about internship program in the Turkish Red Crescent and how we can join the external activities or contribute to the volunteer work. I think it's a very important one, because this training is an expanding capability training on volunteerism, and also we want to reach also the practical level. And do you have any advice to the esteemed participants?
Yeah, of course. If they like to join their, own Red Crescent or Red Cross societies, they should contact the headquarters in their own countries. But if they are asking about Turkish Red Crescent's work, because if we have an office in Afghanistan as well, as Turkish Red Crescent, we have offices in 13 countries around the world, and Afghanistan is one of them. And for internship, we have some internship programs. They can always apply and contact me about it. And then we have different kinds of volunteer structures in the organizations. We have youth branches in each city, in each branch, because we have, the headquarters in Turkey, in Ankara, and then also we have branches in other cities and towns of Turkey. So in each city or in each town, we have the youth branch as well. And they mainly organized in universities, but not limited or restricted to the universities only. And during this coronavirus crisis, most of the work or the service given by Red Crescent done by the volunteers. So I can easily show you the statistics from here. More than 500,000 day per man per day. We calculate it like this. For example, one person volunteer one day, and we call it work man per day. So more than 500,000 volunteers help us during the crisis, because in Turkey we had some precautions and then limitations for the elderly and the youth. The age 65, over 65 cannot go out, and below 20 cannot go out of their houses. So they need some stuff, they need some food, some medicine, some even bread. They cannot go and buy bread. So what we have done, we have organized the volunteers, and the volunteers has distributed these needs for those people who really don't have anyone who can go and buy for them. So this was a great service in Turkey. We have done so even during the Ramadan. People, didn't have enough time to go and buy their, Ramadan food, and then we have distributed this as well for those people. And then we didn't look for the needy people. I mean, it doesn't have to be poor, because under these circumstances, those people didn't have that capacity, that potential to go and get it. So this was done by the volunteers. So in Turkey, they can, if they are living in Turkey, they can be part of this all the time. It doesn't matter whether they are Turkish or not. But again, we have many foreign students who are studying in Turkey, and then they are the part of this voluntary organization. But if they want to join Red Crescent's activities, they are in their own countries, so they can go and contact the office we have in their own countries. But if they don't have the access to those offices, they can always contact me and I can help them.
Thank you very much. I mean, we have lots of questions to have, but I think now we have to switch to the closing ceremony. I'm going to change my hat. I will get out from this moderation hat and switch to the MC of the closing ceremony. And Mr. Mustafa Tutkun, thank you very much. We really appreciate it and get very important insights about the volunteerism approach in professionalism and the volunteerism relationship and two wings approach. Thank you very much for your contribution, and hoping to meet with you soon about expanding the collaboration between ICYF and the Red Crescents and other Reds through the OIC Red and other relevant bodies of international system. Thank you very much. Dear friends and selected participants of the ICYF online volunteerism program, now we are ending this intense training of 2 weeks, which ended in the 17 sessions during the weekends. And thank you very much for your efforts to be here. And the eligible participants, I have the glad pleasure to inform you that the eligible participants will receive the verified certificate of this training next week, inshallah, hoping so. And this will be an official certificate that will be beneficial for you, for your future careers about the issue, and issued by an in the international institution. And now I want to give you the floor to His Excellency Mr. Taha Hayhan, the president of ICYF, to deliver his closing remarks on the volunteerism program. Yes, Mr. Tahan, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Ahmed Halit Bey. And I also want to begin my words with a thanking to Mr. Mustafa Tutkun Bey from Red Crescent. I had a chance to listen his marvelous presentation, and it was all great and perfect. And it's a real pleasure and also fruitful for us to hear his experiences and the experience from the Red Crescent. And we are always thankful to the Red Crescent of Turkey and Red Crescent of all the world for their efforts in the very difficult time of the humanity. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear friends, dear brothers, sisters, dear young volunteers. It's a real pleasure for me, and I'm really honored to be here with you. And it's a great opportunity for me to thank you again and say some words for the closing ceremony of this inspiring volunteering training. And it's also a first time experience for ICYF as well to organize such a online training camp because, as you know all, we have a commitments and we used to organize these training camps, trainings in person and in the field. And now we have transformed all the necessary camps and trainings to the online platform. It's a new experience for me, for us, for ICYF, for the whole team. But Alhamdulillah, with your very valuable participation, we have completed our first online volunteering training. And I would like to begin my statement by thanking you, ICYF organizing team and valuable trainers for joining us and making the online volunteering training one of the best examples of unity and cooperation. I am deeply impressed to see how this training program reached thousands of viewers, media channels, and public and online. And I would like to congratulate ICYF organizing team, particularly Miss Ceren, Miss Pervin, Miss Merve, Miss Hilal, Mr. Suleyman, Mr. Kenan, and Mr. Kemal Tasiu, who is our brilliant intern also, and who is with us now, for their brilliant arrangements and perfect implementations of this significant program in cooperation with you, energetic moderators and respected speakers. I also would like to underline the precious efforts and contributions of our privileged partners to the program with their expertise and experiences, such as United Nations Volunteers, Turkish Red Crescent, Medicina, Special Direction, Global One, Hamad bin Khalifa University of Qatar, Lanchkut. Thanks to this successful cooperation, ICYF will do its best to provide different programs and initiatives to serve the youth in OIS geography and beyond. Dear friends, dear young volunteers, dear sisters and brothers, your passion and motivation during this intensive training program in the last 14 days proved that we have to count on youth and give them better opportunities to do more and better for societies and world. The training program was designed to equip you and enhance your knowledge on volunteering with different aspects, such as from definition of volunteers to impact of volunteer work, project writing, and designing to effective online volunteer stories to humanitarian crisis in OIC region, universal volunteering ethics to transformation of volunteerism in the age of pandemic, and also cooperation with the young people beyond the OIC region. I strongly believe that and hope that our program met your expectations and provided you the network to build your career and personal development as you dream. I would like to remind you again, when you look at the reasons why volunteering is important, it's not only about the impacts we can make in the lives of those less fortunate, but the role it can play in making us more tolerant individuals and giving towards the global community. As ICYF, we will always try our best to encourage youth volunteerism and share the best practices of it for the betterment of our communities. Let me congratulate all of you as a member of ICYF Young Volunteers Network. Once we start to organize our volunteering camps on the ground, as usual, your participation to such programs will be highly appreciated and expected. As member of Volunteering Network, I believe that you will contribute societies and world actively from now on. Distinguished volunteers, dear friends, dear ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to hearing from your good practices and experiences. Also, don't forget to follow us to know about our future online programs during the pandemic. Before I conclude my speech, I once again congratulate all of you for making this training program remarkable. And also, I want to request from you to be ambassadors of ICYF in all your respective countries and communities and regions. The program wouldn't have come this far without your participation and trainers' contribution. Let this unique friendship and volunteering network to be sustainable youth action to encourage everyone to be volunteer at any age and any age for any matters to support. I also want to thank you again for making these hard times, difficult days, very meaningful by participating and make this online training available. I thank you all for your attention, and inshallah see you in person in soon at the soonest possibility. Yes, Mr. Halpi.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And on behalf of ICYF team, I would like to also thank you for leading this process by showing interest and giving recommendations and direction for each step of the preparation. And also, I'd like to thank all our ICYF team. And there are some hidden warriors that we succeed on this, and the team of Ms. Ceren as well. And this is not an end. This is just a short break about the volunteerism, and we perceive that this certificated core team will be the core to the ICYF initiatives on the volunteerism.
Definitely. They will be the ambassadors of ICYF in their respective home countries. And I think, Halit Bey, we can use this opportunity for hearing their voices. If they want to share any ideas, opinions, or their emotions, I think we can give them a chance to hear their voices as well.
Definitely, Mr. President. It is our last agenda item right now. And
okay, so you have an agenda. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. At the end, we want to give the floor right now to those who wants to give some comments and actually give also some recommendations as well, because we will going to make the other additions and we will make the purification and perfection about this initiative for the next sessions. And if you have also other further comments, we will glad to hear from you. Thank you. So I want to start from the Miss Rabia Ilyas from Pakistan. Miss Rabia, are you hearing me well?
So, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
All of you.
Yeah, we are hearing you well, Miss Rabia.
Okay. First of all, I'm very grateful to ICYF for this wonderful opportunity, because in this pandemic, I so wanted such session, to be productive and learn something. All the sessions that we had were very well planned, and really, being a volunteer, I needed that training. I could say that. And this platform gave me some very good friends that I think I will have later on too. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I really look forward to another sessions that I can join and will surely, participate. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Ms. Rabia. Thank you, highly appreciate it. And dear Yaya from Burkina Faso.
Okay, assalamu alaikum once more, and thank you very much for the training opportunity. We are really grateful to the ICYF for this grateful and powerful opportunity. And what I would like to propose is to give us like a hashtag. If there is a hashtag that we can use, for example, after the training, if we want to make a social media post, if there is a hashtag, we can use it in the name of ICYF for our different posts on Facebook, on Twitter, and so on.
Thank you very much, brother Yaya. And ICYF team will going to share and very soon. I mean, we recently seen and share an hashtag to be shared in the social media to increase the outreach. Thank you very much. And Mr. Abdurrahman Olakin, the brother, floor is yours, dear Abdurrahman. Are you hearing us? Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To be sincere, I want to appreciate ICYF president and the team as a whole for a job well done. To be sincere, this is a very great opportunity. I appreciate you for the opportunity offered to us. From this corner in Nigeria, I say a very big thank you for the opportunity. More importantly, I want to appreciate all the participants that make this program interesting. Like, I enjoyed it, like, wow, it's a very nice one. And I want to say thank you to all for making it a very learning platform, for making it an interesting one. We look forward to more, and we look forward to contributing our own quota in our own little way to the progress of ICYF and even partnership with our organizations. We look forward to doing things in a more cooperative way. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much. As I said, this is the only just the beginning session, and this is not the end, and we are just giving a very, very short break to switch to our next sessions, and very appreciated your valuable comment. And I want now give floor to the Esnira Salem from Philippines.
All right, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
First of all, I want to express my deep gratitude to the ICYF team, both online and those who are working offline. This is actually my second time to join a volunteering activity of the ICYF. Last year, I was part of the Antalya team. So I'm doing the offline and online. With regards to the way forward, I was reading this book, Ikigai, the secret tips of the Japanese in leading a happier life. One of the things that mentioned in that book is that the people in that community who have reached more than 100 years old, one of their secrets to leading a happy life is that all of them are engaged in volunteerism. Like the community are doing something, people are doing something for the community. So maybe in the next sessions, if you will be doing this again, maybe you could find someone from Japan who could really share their experiences to the young people, how in Japan, how in their community, they are cultivating the spirit of volunteerism. And lastly, as a way forward, because I know that a lot of my peers also here will be doing some projects and will continue to do volunteer works, especially in their communities. I hope that you would give us a chance to be mentored in this process, because you did a good job in linking us to various speakers who have shared not just their expertise but also their personal experiences. And if you could there's my way forward with this is, like, I suggest that you link us to them and provide a mentoring session with these speakers, with these experts, so that in our job, in our volunteering activities, we would be guided all throughout, not just during this training. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was very insightful. Thank you. I mean, you are advising to transform it into mentorship through online. That means that's a platform. And may ICYF have some surprises for you about this issue in short term, but it is well noted and it was very wise. Thank you very much. And I want now give floor to the Ms. Nasra from Somalia. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we are hearing you very well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, all IYCF team and Mr. Taha, the president of ICYF, for giving us this great opportunity, especially during this challenging and difficult time. Really, we can't express how much we benefited from your sessions. It was great opportunity. I want to say we are human. I'm sure sometimes we did bad things that made you upset and angry. We can say is that we are sorry all of that, and consider it as accidentally happened. And I'm sure We will meet another time, inshallah. We will create great opportunity and friendship. So I'm so happy to meet you all and talk to you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And now I want to give floor to the Miss Nayori Pezo from Peru. Yes, Miss Nayori, floor is yours. Miss Nayori Pezo, can you hear? Yes. Now we are
Hello.
switching.
Hello.
Hello.
First of all, I would like to say in this group I learned a lot. I manage a group, the volunteering here. It's complicated to learn in this crisis time, but thank you for giving me this opportunity to learn with my partnership. I met friends in around the world. Is really amazing to learn different cultures, to share different cultures, to share different opinions. There are a lot of point of view. This is amazing for me. I hope the group someday we gather together presential after this coronavirus crisis. I hope maybe we can add many social media to share information, to share different opportunities to learn more and participate, are encouraged to join us in different groups. I thank you so much for everything, for giving me this opportunity to learn more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And our deepest regards to the Peru. And Ms. Adama Dampa from Gambia. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yes, brother.
Thank you to, I just want to say thank you to Mr. President and then the entire ICYF team for bringing us this useful platform to build another family with volunteers across the globe. Thank you to my fellow participants for making this training XXX together. I have a question that I would like to ask. And the question is, can ICYF create a network of ICYF ambassadors in our respective countries where we can connect, we as the participants, so that we can have that mutual connection together? So because this platform has created a network for us to at least build some relationship. Some of us, we didn't know each other before coming to this platform. And now I can see in our own group chat, which was created, separated from the ICYF group chat, people have connections and then they are building a bond. So I think it will be really great if we can still keep this bond together, constantly communicating and then sharing our ideas, maybe our volunteer activities also, we can share it together, and then we might inspire one another to do some similar activities or work in our respective countries or in our respective region. So I believe some of us are not actually in our native land, but like it doesn't necessarily mean that we cannot do it in another country or in another land. So I believe if we have a platform where we are still going to have that interaction, it will be a really great thing for us as participants. Thank you to everyone once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, brother. It's a very important point, and I think with this verified official certificate, you are like an volunteer or honorary ambassadors of ICYF on volunteerism issue. And I said, we'll be glad to publish and promote your work regarding with the volunteerism that are within the scope of ICYF establishment values and the resolutions of OIC. Through our networks, and our team is here. You can reach them anytime, and they will be glad to receive your works about this issue. You are more than welcome. And Miss Melek Adib, Fallah Altan from, I couldn't able to see your country. Please forgive me, Miss Melek Adib. The floor is yours. Miss Malek, are you hearing me? Miss Malek? Okay, maybe next time we'll switch. And I want to take just one or two name there. Yes, dear brother Felix Rasulov from Kyrgyzstan. Dear brother Felix, floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum to all my dear brothers and sisters. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to ICIF team for providing such a brilliant opportunity. We all have gained a lot of useful knowledges as well as skills, and we should put it into practice. Also, I hope that our Muslim community will continue growing and developing as well. And inshallah, we will achieve all our goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And dear Destan Abdullah, can you hear me?
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. My name is Destan Abdullah. I am from south of Kurdistan. And first of all, I want to thanks for the ICYF team for this opportunity for training as volunteering. Thank you very much. I am very glad to being with you all and for knowing many friends in other countries. And I get very benefit from this training. But I want to share one of my experience. 2 years ago, me and my friends always ask us for many organizations for being a part of them as voluntary, but they always ask us for us, do you have 2 years experience? But we haven't because we are students. But every organization just asks if you have experience, we can like being participate with us. But then we thinking about another way, making an organization together. So we did. We have now an organization. Sorry, it's person, and now I am the communication manager. In my city, we did in many like parties for education, changing like being improving students and thinking about the life and everything. And thank you for this opportunity to giving us and makes me like being braver and getting very benefit for volunteering and for my organization. Thank you very much again.
You're welcome. As I said, please send your institutions and activities details to us through email. I mean, you know, all the team, Ms. Merve, Hilal, Ceren is there, and we will be glad to stay in connected, and we can do our best to collaborate in this manner. Just send us the documents and related videos. Thank you. And now I want to go to the Nigeria. Yes, dear Nigeria is there. And Suleiman Asuri. Yes, brother Suleiman, floor is yours. Suleiman, can you hear us? Suleiman? Okay, then we will switch to the close by.
Today,
yes, Suleiman, we are now hearing you well. Yes.
So I am very happy to participate in this program, and I want to thank the President of Israel to give us this opportunity to participate in this program. This volunteering program has given me a competence by allowing me to try something new and to push me out of the comfort in terms of what I use. Now I get to the most relevant important changes after participating in this program. Prospectively, I am based on my work on young women, non-governmental organizations, government medias.
Brother Suleiman, I think dear Brother Suleiman, we are not able to hear you very well. So sorry, Brother Suleiman, we are not able to hear you very well. I think it would be better. No, we are not able to hear you. So I think it will be better to receive your written comments, and we will going to read it and take it into consideration. Thank you very much. And we are now switching to the close by country, Senegal. Yes, Papa Banda, are you hearing us, dear Papa Banda?
Yeah, can you hear me right now?
Yes, we are hearing you very well.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ICYF, for this training session. I believe that after this training session, I will be eating the plowback the skills and knowledge harvested in the course of the program, which are unfortunate and vulnerable people living in a society. I am extremely happy to be here to learn and apply the skill for future research. Thank you, all participants. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Papa Banda. It will be a long journey, and we will going to switch from Senegal to Malaysia. And I want to give floor to the Narmesh from Malaysia. Can you hear us?
Yeah, hello there.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
All right. I'm fine. Thank you so much. All right. So thank you. I would like to wish my gratitude to ICYF team for the amazing hard work, for the amazing session, for the amazing technical difficulties. I'm actually working closely with the Ministry of Youth and Sports Malaysia. We actually have this volunteering program. It's called My Core. We have this 3 months program. So since now there is COVID-19, sorry for the background, it's to appreciate all of us here. Yeah. So we have this program called My Core. It's actually an offline program where we go to countries, Southeast Asian countries, we go to countries like Central Africa to contribute projects over there. So what I learned from this project is that I will actually mimic this project, make it as a pilot project over in Malaysia, where since now it's COVID-19 lockdown, so we will actually mimic this project and I will propose it to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Yeah. My further recommendations or my further suggestion would be that probably ICYF could open more to non-OIC states, because I believe there are people who love to know this knowledge, and also probably we can touch a little bit of journalism. Yeah, because journalism or volunteering, it's very important. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is very important. And as you know, ICF is also acting in the non-OIC countries in accordance with the adopted resolutions of OIC. Expanding this initiative is in our prior agenda items. Thank you very much. And now I want to give floor to Naya Shahin from Syria. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hello, everyone. And this was my first ICYF event that I ever participated in. And I can say it was a very, very fruitful and rich experience. I would definitely recommend it to anyone that is interested in volunteering. I was able to get to know wonderful volunteers from different countries that even motivated me more to volunteer more, and that shared many opportunities for us volunteers and experiences. So thank you all. One thing I can recommend for this event is that it would have been great if we had a special session for us volunteers with a moderator to share our own experiences and maybe mistakes that we could have learned. So that is my only recommendation. And once again, thank you all for this lovely experience.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And And now I want to, yes, Brother Kerim Kabari from Qatar.
Oh, it's my turn now.
Yes, yes,
Assalamu
please.
alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Marhaba, everyone. Me, as everyone else, I believe we attended a lot of events and conferences, locally or internationally. And even this is your first online conference, and I believe it's one of the first online conferences being held during this pandemic. It felt pretty much like the real events. Like I really didn't feel much difference in terms of getting the confirmation, the email, and rushing between the sessions, and getting emails about the PDFs or the report that we have to read. And we even had those kind of participants that we see for the first time during the closing ceremony, and they are so quiet during all the event. Even the vibes of the conferences, when some people getting late, some people have things to do, and some people is going too early. It really felt a lot like a real conference. I didn't feel like it's an online or it's maybe I can say like a fake conference. It was really fruitful. It was really full of great lectures, really great speakers. Organizing was going very well, and I believe it's not less tiring or less intense than having a real conference. Sometimes it can be a bit harder. So well done, organizing team, and well done, volunteers. It was really a great experience, and it is indeed an indicator that for further on online conferences would be as much successful at this one, or even much more. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think we can have one more. Yes, dear Leah from Sri Lanka.
And thank you very much. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you very much, ICYF, giving me this kind of opportunity here. Actually, during this program, what I learned is just this program actually polished my idea and also polish our project to do ahead. And you know that as most of us are students here, and frankly, I would say that I'm so much depressed with the assignment and the midterms and final project and the thesis and write-ups. So actually the program feels like, it's like a cherry in the ice cream. So we just relaxed this program, and I couldn't feel any such virtual things because the friends are here. It's like too much close, very close and helping mind. And I feel that they all are, in front of me or beside. So it's like an offline program. And also, thank you so much because it's released our stress and inspired us to go ahead. Thank you so much. And also I suggest that you have to continue this program. Don't stop it, continue ahead and just keep in touch with us also. That's my idea and views. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we are at the end, and I want to thank all of you for your great participation. As I said, this week, two eligible ones will going to receive their certificates, inshallah. And as I said before, this is not the end, but just a short break. And the team have to rest for just 1 day or 2 days. I know they have been working tirelessly in the weekends, at the nights, and I want to thank each of them for their contributions. Thank you very much, and hoping to meet you soon in the next ICYF events. Assalamu alaikum, and my regards.
Wa alaikum salam wa
Alaikum
rahmatullah.
salam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Please stay safe and fine. See you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you.